So for quite a while, I've ever so often seen the topic of should have Super Saiyan eyes been red on forum posts, etc. And lately the subject popped up again in my Instagram feed, and I thought it was quite an interesting what if to discuss, because if you didn't know that in an illustration Toriyama provided of Goku for movie 5, Cooler's Revenge, he actually gave Goku red eyes. And well, during the research process for this video, I realized that this almost became a reality on screen. And of a matter of fact, it seems it was actually animated in at one point, at least from what this image shows. And even in a trailer for the movie, you can see that his eyes are actually red. So at one point, this is the way Goku could have appeared in movie 5. Furthermore, in the limited color pages Toriyama would do, not to be confused with the normal full color pages, we can see this color being utilized with Goku on Namek and is also used for future chapters. But it is possible that this could have been a result of convenience because, as you know, one reason why Toriyama made the SSJ transformation blonde was because in the manga he could illustrate that as white and therefore saved his assistant time, as it was his assistant's job to ink in the hair. And with the color pages, as far as I'm aware of, he would usually color them in himself, and so to save time it obviously makes sense to keep it white. And to be honest, it does actually look quite good. Therefore, when it comes to the eyes, well, black obviously wouldn't go, considering that's what they were in his base form, and well, white wouldn't go either, and grey additionally wouldn't contrast well with white hair, so red is the obvious choice. However, he goes on to use it later on in chapter 354, and even though he does colour the hair now, he could have kept it here just for the sake of consistency, but then he changes it later on when we see Trunks challenge Cell. He now has white eyes, and later on it is actually grey and remains that way for the limited colour pages. But as we see in the character sheets for the movie, he did shade the eyes in with red. And on a side note, it's also interesting that he made his hair such a rich yellow and using orange tones for shading, considering at this time it was usually depicted with cream and beige tones quite often, and sometimes with white highlights and a solid yellow base. So this is actually something quite different within itself. But anyway, it seems for whatever reason Toei decided not to go ahead with it, although personally I think it would have been cool to have seen for at least one movie. So we can see that Toriyama definitely considered it at one point, but didn't go with it. But let's explore some of the possible reasons why he didn't, and we can do this by looking at some of the positives and negatives of the two colours. So one, red is the colour often used to express rage and anger, but furthermore in Japan, quote, red is a powerful colour in traditional Japanese society, representing strong emotion rather than ideas, which does really suit the meaning of this form, to do with a pure heart awakened by rage, and also suits this moment when Goku tells Gohan to get out while he still has some control over himself. So story wise, it does seem fitting in a sense, but at the same time red also carries sort of a evil and sinister feel, and of a matter of fact Toriyama uses red for Frieza's eyes, Cooler, Cell's and Majin Buu's with the exception of Fat Buu, and thus from a story standpoint, having Goku with the same red coloured eyes as a villain like Frieza in the Namek arc or Cooler in movie 5, it just doesn't differentiate the characters as much in the terms of their nature, whereas green creates a perfect contrast between the two. Although Toriyama could have used red for the eyes to illustrate an unmastered state of Super Saiyan, or possibly an enraged form, and when Goku gains control his eyes turn to that more calm green. And this reasoning would also suit movie 5, as he still had trouble transforming into it at will during this period, and well, it would be a cool and unique form we could have seen for just this one film. But regardless, if you still would have preferred that it was red, that's fine, and I think that both have their positives, and a great solution would have been to see both, like we almost did, literally, like it was so close. And I found this topic to be quite interesting, and if you enjoyed, show your support by smashing that like button with your fist so hard you break your mouse and punch a hole in the table, and after your sibling or partner comes in asking what is the noise, just tell them it was a prank, bro, and you'll both profusely laugh with crying tear emojis, or just avoid this problem and subscribe. So with that final life hack, I will see you in the next video.